Hello, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to continue with Our Life Begins in Always, Derek DLC, step 4 part of it. I don't know how much we're going to get it done here. So, try to get as much as we can.
Morning.
Morning, it's a brand new day, fresh start. We're already set to make the most of it. His resolve from the park hadn't been lost under the light of a new day. Rather, the Derek from that dark moment seemed a lifetime away from the man in front of you now. Morning. I'm happy to hear that. It's going to be good. Definitely. How did you sleep? It was another good night, as such sounding.
Awesome.
His eyes darted towards the tidy kitchen where plenty of supplies were tucked away. Then his gaze returned to you. Before our big day, we've got to have breakfast. Can't be running on empty. Yeah, I'll get something. Derek's meal consisted of scrambled eggs and a side of cinnamon still cut oats cooked in almond milk. You prepared some eggs with simple accompaniment, accompaniments. Yeah, that word. Plates, bowls, cups, and utensils were set at the table, and the two of you set yourselves down in chairs. You noticed Derek focused on a single part of his food at a time. He didn't start working through the oatmeal until the eggs were entirely gone. I gotta fix something here quick. You notice Derek focused on a single part of his food at a time. He didn't start working. Okay. Oh, I think I read this part already. Sorry. Gee. Between bites, Derek chatted idly about your plans.
So?
Do you have a swimsuit? I know I'm asking this now. The morning we're going, I should have checked ages ago. I was excited. Yeah, I see. But we can stop by somewhere to get one if you don't. It's not your job to make sure I have a swimsuit. If I needed one, I should have said so myself, but I don't. I've already got mine. I usually end up needing it at some point when I'm back home, even if I don't always know exactly why. You grow up next to the ocean, having swimming gear on hand was second nature. You'd probably bring it even if you were going to the top of a mountain. He snickered. Good point. Let's pack it all up as soon as breakfast is over. We can hit the road right away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and they have changing rooms there. We won't have to drive all the way there in swimsuits. Just remember to bring it along. His planning instincts came back in full force as he rattled off a list of potential items to pack, counting them off on his fingers. Water, the swimsuit, a towel, a change of clothes, sunscreen, cover-ups, maybe. Let's see. During the discussion, you listened heavily to his chatter. You began to feel nervous now that time to go. Okay, I'm gonna join in the discussion. You brought proper shoes and making sure your phones were as close to fully charged as possible. He nodded along. Everything should be covered with your two forward-thinking brains working together. Derek grew more and more eager as he spoke. He stopped briefly to polish off his oatmeal and down a glass of lemonade. You followed his lead and made quick work of your breakfast. Both of you cleared off your own dishes. From there, you went straight back to your rooms to gather the new supplies you needed. You had a carry-on size bag as part of your luggage that you could use for the day trip. it had been emptied out already for your stay at Derek's. The first thing you packed was your swimsuit. It was the Speedo. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Speedo. And t-shirt and towel. Yeah, goggles. Should. And grab your water bottle as last piece. It was great that you get to swimming. You're going to a crowded park. You thought of wearing it in front of Derek was stressful. You couldn't wait to see what Derek would be. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. You couldn't wait to see what Derek would be wearing. Wherever it would be a sight to behold. A few more bites, and bobs were slipped into the pack before you zipped it up. You mentally ran over the contents, going through an imaginary checklist for all the important supplies. When you felt certain you had everything you need, you slung the bag over your shoulders and regrouped with Derek in the living room. His gym bag was under his arm. Derek attempted to give you a thumbs up without letting it slip out. This is going to be good. Yeah. Derek clenched the bag in his hands shyly in order to position it protectively in front of his chest. He kept his tone relaxed.
Well,
Hey, are we on a date now, or does this not start until we've made it to the park? I believe it starts right here. The date starts right this second. Go. Awesome. I couldn't take the suspense. You left the apartment behind knowing you wouldn't be seeing it again until the day had ended. Once Derek, you and your bags were packed into the car, he pulled out of the lot. Derek's and your first date had not only begun, it was on the move. There was a lengthy trip ahead of you, but Derek had it all under control. You used the opportunity to check in with family and friends. With how busy each day in Prism Vista City had been, it was only in moments like this when you had a chance to keep up with text. Lee was on a trip herself, gallivanting around Europe. She sent you a whole series of photos she'd taken, from foods she'd eaten to fashion she'd worn. It all looked amazing. Liz shot you a back message to say she was so swamped. She apologized but had little time to chat with her little brother. Knowing Liz was okay comfort you, and so did seeing how her queerly attitude still hadn't changed, but it was a bit sad that the both of you had such separate lives now that you were grown. But once you put your phone down in your lap, Derek was there to avoid any dead air. He chatted boyishly about the water park. He recounted stories of his past excursions there with his family over the years. How one time they almost got kicked out because Nicholas jumped into Derek's back to go down a single person slide with him instead of waiting to have his own turn. Luckily, no one was hurt and they got off the hook in the end. It was hard for anyone to stay mad at a kid like that. Sorry about all the coughing. Then, as if his words materialized, a mystic lost city into existence. The massive slides Derek had been describing began to rise up against the skyline. The sparkle in his eyes as Derek spotted them only added to the legendary effect of what you were beholding. You'd arrived. And it's the same old usual parking lot that we always see in every scene. At least it seems that way. Before you could enter through the hollowed gates, you had to pay a terrible price. $15 for a one-day parking pass, and then $45 for each for tickets. It was worth the cost. According to Derek, the exchange was made. The afternoon was young when you actually made it inside of the water park. Yeah, pretty cool looking. It was a dazzling playground with rides curving and looping through the air, taller than the palm trees, lazily flustering in the breeze. Their leaves get greeted every guest with a friendly flick the of the fond frowned, and the entire place was rimmed by expensive artificial wave pool that broke off into smaller streams squeezing through the sidewalks.
All right.
He jogged ahead with all the enthusiasm of a first time goer before spinning around to face the person who'd actually never been there before. Let's get on our swimsuits, then we can get started. The individual changing rooms and showers are over there. Derek poked a finger off to the left to direct your gaze. Over the heads of strangers rubbernecking, you could make out some simple binge buildings. It was the only part of the place that wasn't immediately eye-catching. Plus, there are lockers you can use to keep your stuff safe. Want to meet up back here when we're done? That sounds like a plan. See you in a minute. The huddle of two broke and you got in line for the bathrooms. Eventually, you each got your own stalls. In the privacy of the small space, you perform a grand quick change act for no one but yourself. You weren't about to waste your park time in there. Derek and the water were waiting. Though after throwing one set of clothes off and another on, you paused to make sure nothing was left behind. With all your belongings bundled in your arms, you fumbled the lock open and left the stall in record time. You were charged again to claim a locker during your visit. It was the real amusement park experience. With a shrug, you packed your clothes and phone inside for safekeeping. Then you made your way back to the entrance. Ooh, nice. I'm taking that picture. Through the crowds of guests, you continued forward until you spotted Derek standing with his now bare feet at the edge of the pool. Water bubbled over his toes when the waves came in. He was sporting only a form-fitting black suit, streaking down each side were green accents that made his eyes pop even more than usual.
What's up?
Sup, Hanson? These verdict eyes were focused right on your purple ones. At least when he first noticed you. After that, there was a moment when his gaze began to wander down over your full form. His starting didn't linger long enough to impolite. It was as if he'd perfectly calculated the ideal number of seconds for personal joys and the upholding of societal values.
So,
Since we're definitely on a date at this point in the process, I thought it was fair game to mention how you looked and that I'm a fan of it. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna go with this one. You're welcome. I never disappoint my fans. The line was spoken as you shifted into a coy pose.
man,
You give too much. I'm not worthy. Of course you are. Chuckling bashfully, Derek ruffled his hair. You couldn't tell if he was using it up or unconsciously or attempting to fix the direction of the sprinkleness after having to pull his hoodie over his head. Either way, you were very much aware of Derek being right there next to you. You know you're really ripped. And with that, you'd officially made Derek's day. He beamed wider than a championship winner's victory photo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Come on.
Where should we get started? I want to do anything and everything. There's no way to lose. We collected the main attractions Derek had filled you in on during the ride. With surely of an authority on the topic, even though you never stepped foot in here before, you told Derek where you hoped to start. Let's go down some slides. Hell yeah. You shot a hand towards a twisting yellow one, making it very clear which ride you were intent on going for. Derek had a thumbs up for that. Good choice. The two of you raced across the park and came to an abrupt stop at the long clustered group of people who all had the same idea as you. Amusement park lines at peak summer visiting hours were no joke. You inched forward every minute or so. Screams echoed from the top of the stairs as the guests after guests hurtled down the water slide. Distant surf rocks played over speakers as you waited for your turn. You didn't even notice it was still there until you'd gotten higher up the steps. Derek entertained himself and you by doing a little dance and playing air unicorn in time with the tune. You snickered all the way to the lunch platform. It was a closed top rather than a half pipe. There was a perfectly round opening for the slide that continued into a deep, dark descent. A low roar came from the swirling waters flooding through the massive tube. It was the straw of a giant trying to stick you inside. Your heart pounded. Nice. After you. Alright, here I go. The ride technician led you to the lip of the slide and lifted off the safety measures that that certainly recited a million times before and gave you the okay to push off. There was no need to tell you twice. You scooted your butt right into the surge and you were off. You zipped down around as if you were a gumball in one of those fancy machines that made the treat go through a loop before arriving in the awaiting child's hand. But the warm embrace that you landed in was an explosion of heated pool water. A massive smile stayed on your face as you surfaced. There was no time to get stuck in a daze. Reverting wahoo chased after you through the narrow path until once again the water was launched into the air by a dramatic arrival. You and Derek waded through the waist deep water, catching the breath that had been taken away by the rush. It was a wild ride, but only the beginning. You were certain to hit every one of the half dozen big slides in the place. And you kept jumping in line for slides over the rest of the afternoon. For hours there was nothing in the world but water, but fun, Derek, and even more water. There was no work to be done or places to be. You had to do nothing but whatever you felt like doing. You wrung out every bit of enjoyment until time caught up to your heels. Light started to wane as the sun hid behind the towering slides. Dripping wet and thoroughly wrinkled, you and Derek scrambled over to the lockers. Turning the knob was no easy feat in your current states, but you needed towels and money. After a long day in the water, you were starving. You ignored the grumbles in your stomach to focus as much as possible on keeping your grip with slippery fingers. Finally, you managed to break open the safe and access the goods inside. You plucked up the towel that had been resting on the top of your clothing pile. It was an inspired piece of foresight to make it as accessible as possible. If only you'd considered taking your wallet out of your pocket instead of tying. You made good use of the towel until your hands were dry and for the first time in, you weren't even sure how long. Then you started to dig for your money. Derek leaned back on his heels and craned his neck to look past his locker's door to you. Ready to eat? Just one more second. After a final awkward tug, you succeeded in warming the wallet out of its fabric cocoon. There we go. With a flick of your wrist, you closed your locker. Getting dressed, you could wait a second. Clattering slam floor followed after Derek shut his too. He tossed his neon towel over his shoulder like a shawl, then folded his arms.
Well,
Honestly, the food here isn't bad for theme park restaurants, at least. It's worth trying. That's good. A decent meal is exactly what I need right now. You made like your wallet securely wrapped yourself in a towel. It dampened instantly, but was still very cozy. Derek hooked his arm across your shoulders, pulling you towards him. You lipped your own around his back. His body heat was especially pleasant while soaking wet and standing in the cooling evening air. You made a break for the central area where the poolside restaurant was set. Your towels rippled in the wind, and your feet slapped against the concrete path. You felt free as a bird and all of 13 years old. The water park restaurant had only outdoor seating and a small shack where the food was prepared. But the rich, savory scents wafting from the sliding openings on the front of the building convinced you more than enough. Once you and Derek got to the window, you wasted no time putting in your orders, paying and setting up camp at the closest available table.
so
He got comfortable for the wait, resting his chin on his fist and looking across the table at you with a cheeky grin. How are you feeling about this whole arrangement after the first official outing? Should I set up a survey you can fill out? Tell me how you'd rate it first. You get top marks. You do too.
awesome.
The teasing interview came to an end before it began. He instead shifted to lean fully back against the white plastic chair, chuckling and contentedly. It's been a long time since I've gone to a park, this one or any others. I'm always busy, right? Too busy? We should do it more often. I agree. His cheeks and eyes lifted, pleased. You were more grateful than ever to be there at the water park. In the state you grew up in and at the side of your boyfriend. Your meal soon arrived and it was finished briskly. Swimming had made you entirely famished. The potential post-food conversation was cut off for you and Derek and every single person in the vicinity. It began with an echoing bell over the entire park and then transitioned into a spoken message. The employee announced cheerfully as possible that the park was closing soon and all guests needed to get out of the pools. Derek glanced up at the sky in general direction there the disembodied voice came from.
I swear.
Man, it went so fast. At least it was really nice while it lasted. And we can make tomorrow good too. There was something in his wondering gaze and the playful quirk of his lips. The end of the occasion had skipped all the other stages of grief and gone straight to acceptance for Derek. Tomorrow is, well, I have a feeling it won't be too hard to have some fun. You watched him with intrigue, fully expecting to be let in on what kept his spirits so high. But he merely grinned your way and explained nothing. Still, the approaching closing of the park spurred the both of you on it wouldn't be responsible to dawdle. Your trash was thrown out and you jumped into the shower for a brief wash before changing into your actual clothes and getting back into Derek's car. It was late by the time he parked once more in his designated spot for the apartment complex. What little remained of the night was passed in peaceful relaxation around the apartment before collapsing into bed. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there because I don't want to take up too much of my hubby's time on the computer or whatever. So, thanks for watching on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button for those of you who haven't subscribed already. And for those of you who have stuck around as subscribers. I really appreciate it very much. Your subscribing, being subscribed to my channel shows a lot of your support. But I would appreciate even more support for the community of charities that need the funds, and I'm sure the charities in the community will appreciate it as well. If you join my Patreon and become a Patreon contributing member, it is a monthly fee. There's a $3 tier. There is now a $5 tier and a $10 tier. The last two that I just mentioned are for adult content. There is the More Nuts tier. It's $5. It was $9. I dropped it down to $5. The Extra Nuts tier, the last one, was $25. I dropped that down to $10. So hopefully they'll make it a little more affordable for you guys. It is a monthly fee, I understand, but you would be doing a great thing by becoming a member, because the monthly fees that go in there go directly to a worthy charity that I choose from. Like I said before, I don't see a penny of it. It just goes directly to a worthy charity. So, go ahead and save. Save it right there. There we go. So, until next time, I will see you guys later.